Let me tell you something straight from the heart. Every single one of us was born with greatness inside, but most people will never see it, not because they don't have talent, not because they don't have opportunity, but because they never learned how to master the art of daily excellence. We live in a world where everybody wants the crown, but nobody wants the grind. Everybody wants the reward, but nobody wants the discipline, the consistency, the focus, the sacrifice that it takes to wear that crown with honor. You can talk all day about what you want, about what you dream, but if your daily actions don't match that vision, then it's just noise. Daily excellence is not about being perfect. It's about making a choice every single day to show up, to give your best, to rise above excuses, and to turn every bit of pain, energy, and struggle into power. This isn't about one moment of glory. It's about building a lifestyle that cannot be shaken, standards so high that it defines you. And if you can master that, if you can live daily excellence, then nothing on this earth can stop you. Discipline is the root of greatness, because without discipline, every dream collapses under the weight of excuses and distractions. People talk about success like it's a gift, like it's luck, like it falls into your lap if you wait long enough. But the truth is, success doesn't care about what you want. It respects what you work for, and work without discipline is chaos. Discipline is waking up when you don't feel like it, putting in the work when nobody is clapping, and choosing the hard path when the easy road is begging for your attention. Every legend, every giant who stood tall in any field wasn't powered by motivation alone. Motivation fades. Discipline is what kicks in when motivation dies out. Motivation might get you started, but discipline is what keeps you grinding when the world turns its back on you. Think about it like this. Every single day you have choices. The small decisions stack up, and they don't look like much at first, but they are carving your future. You choose whether you wake up on time or hit snooze, whether you eat something that fuels your body or something that weakens you, whether you study, train, or push forward, or whether you scroll endlessly through distractions. These tiny choices may look harmless in the moment, but they decide whether you are building discipline or feeding laziness. People fail not because they lack dreams, but because they lack the discipline to honor those dreams when life gets uncomfortable. Discipline is the difference between the person who talks about their vision and the person who actually lives it. When you hear about discipline, most people think it's about punishment or strict rules, but discipline is not a cage, it's freedom. It's the freedom to know you can rely on yourself no matter what. When you are disciplined, you don't fear challenges because you've trained yourself to endure. You don't fear failure because you know you'll rise again. Discipline means you've made a deal with yourself that no excuse is big enough to stop you. Without it, life owns you. With it, you own life. Discipline makes you sharper. It makes you stronger. It makes you unstoppable because it builds trust with yourself. And when you trust yourself, nothing can shake you. Every champion was once an ordinary person who made extraordinary choices daily. The fighter who wins in the ring is the one who trained when nobody was watching. The artist who changes the world is the one who practiced their craft while others slept. The leader who inspires nations is the one who stayed disciplined to their mission when no one believed. The root of greatness is not talent alone. It's the discipline that shapes talent into excellence. Without discipline, talent is wasted. With discipline, even the untalented can rise above giants. Discipline also teaches you sacrifice, because you cannot have everything at once. If you want greatness, you must be willing to give up comfort, distractions, and the temporary pleasures that steal your focus. Sacrifice is the price you pay today so that you can live a life tomorrow that others only dream of. And here's the truth. Discipline hurts in the moment, but it heals in the long run. Laziness feels good in the moment, but it destroys in the long run. Which one are you choosing every day? Discipline is a seed, and like every seed, it takes time. You water it with effort, consistency with repetition, and soon it grows into a tree of greatness that no storm can break. When life gets tough, when you feel tired, when your body says no, when your mind says quit, discipline is the voice that says keep going. It's not glamorous, it's not flashy, but it's powerful. People see the shine, but they don't see the grind. They admire the glory, but ignore the discipline behind the scenes. Daily discipline is where greatness is born, in the silence, in the struggle, in the lonely hours when you could have chosen to quit but didn't. Discipline is the real difference maker, the foundation upon which everything else is built. Without it, dreams are just dreams. With it, those dreams turn into reality every single time. Consistency builds kings, because doing something once with passion means nothing if you cannot repeat it with persistence day after day. Anybody can show up on a good day when the sun is shining, the mood is right, and the energy feels perfect, but very few can show up when the rain pours, when the world feels heavy, when the results seem far away. That's why consistency separates the talkers from the doers, the dreamers from the achievers, the almost from the unstoppable. Success is not a one-time event. It's a pattern built out of small daily actions that stack on each other until they form something unshakable. Consistency is like laying bricks. One brick doesn't look like much. If you keep laying them every single day, one day you look up and you've built a fortress. That fortress is your greatness. And the strength of it comes from your ability to keep showing up no matter how you feel. The truth is, talent can only take you so far, because talent without consistency is wasted potential. Think of the athlete who trains hard for one season and then vanishes, or the entrepreneur who works passionately for a few months and then loses focus. The student who studies well for 1 week and then falls back into laziness. Their spark burns bright but dies quickly because they lack consistency. Now compare that to the person who might not have been the most talented, but they kept going, they kept learning, they kept grinding day after day. Over time, the consistent one always outlasts and outshines the talented one who couldn't stay steady. Consistency compounds. That compounding is where true kings are made. Consistency isn't about perfection, it's about commitment. Nobody gets it right every single time. Consistency means you don't let a bad day turn into a bad week, and you don't let one mistake turn into a habit of quitting. You get back up, you try again, you stay in motion. That rhythm is what builds discipline, resilience, and trust in yourself. Every time you follow through with what you said you would do, you are teaching yourself that your word matters. And that inner trust is what gives you power. Without consistency, you live in cycles of starting and stopping, which keeps you trapped in mediocrity. With consistency, you create momentum, and momentum makes you unstoppable. Look at nature for proof. A river cuts through rock, not because it is strong in one moment, but because it keeps flowing every single day without giving up. The sun rises every morning without fail, and because of that consistency, life on earth thrives. Consistency is a law of greatness written into the world itself. You cannot defy it. You cannot escape it. If you want to be great, you must master it. You cannot dip in and out of excellence. You must live it every day until it becomes your nature. Kings are not crowned after one victory. They are crowned after showing up time and time again, proving that their throne is not an accident, but the result of consistency. Consistency also builds credibility. People may admire you for a single moment of brilliance, but they respect you when you can repeat it. They trust you when they know you won't disappear after the first challenge. Consistency makes others believe in you because it shows them you can be counted on. But more importantly, it makes you believe in yourself. When you are consistent, you no longer doubt whether you can achieve something because you have proven it to yourself daily. That confidence is a weapon. It pushes you forward, it silences the noise, and it makes you relentless. Consistency is the quiet force behind every success story. You know, the invisible engine that keeps greatness moving. The hardest part about consistency is that it rarely rewards you immediately. You go to the gym and you don't see results in one day. You work on your dream and it doesn't explode overnight. But every action you repeat is like a drop of water filling a jar. At first, it looks empty, but one day the jar overflows and people call it sudden success. What they don't see is the years of drops, the consistency that filled the jar. The day you plant the seed is not the day you eat the fruit, but if you keep watering it, the harvest always comes. That's why consistency builds kings, because kings are not made in moments. They are made in the grind, in the repetitions, in the commitment to keep building long after others quit. Focus on progress, not perfection, because perfection is an illusion that keeps you frozen, while progress is the real path that moves you forward. Too many people never start because they are waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect version of themselves, but that moment never comes. Life doesn't reward perfection, it rewards effort. Every step you take, no matter how small, builds momentum. And momentum is what creates transformation. Excellence doesn't come from waiting until everything is flawless. It comes from consistently making progress, learning, adjusting, and moving closer to your vision each day. Perfection is a trap. Progress is freedom. When you chase perfection, you become your own biggest enemy. You criticize yourself for not being good enough. You compare yourself to others. You hold back your gifts because you fear mistakes. But when you focus on progress, you realize mistakes are part of the journey. Every misstep teaches you something. Every failure pushes you closer to the lesson you need, and every attempt sharpens your skills. The greatest people you admire didn't start at the top. They stumbled, they fell, they looked foolish. They kept progressing. Progress is messy. It's raw. It's filled with trial and error, but it's real growth. Perfection pretends. Progress produces. Think about a child learning to walk. They fall countless times, but they keep getting up. Nobody expects them to walk perfectly from the start. The progress is what matters. The fact that they can stand a little longer, take a few more steps, and eventually run. That same principle applies to everything in life. If you focus on perfection, you quit at the first fall. If you focus on progress, you rise after every stumble and keep moving. Progress builds resilience, and resilience builds champions. Progress also keeps you present. Perfection makes you live in fear of the future or regret of the past, but progress makes you appreciate the step you're on today. It makes you value the small wins, the tiny improvements, quiet breakthroughs nobody else sees. When you track progress instead of demanding perfection, you realize how far you've come. That realization fuels gratitude and motivation, giving you the strength to keep going. The pursuit of perfection drains you, but the pursuit of progress energizes you because you can see growth happening. Even if it's slow, perfection is about appearance, but progress is about substance. People who chase perfection want to look flawless, but people who chase progress want to be better. Progress is what compounds over time, turning small daily actions into massive change. A writer who writes 1 page a day ends up with a book. A person who runs 1 mile a day ends up with strength and stamina they never imagined. A student who studies a little every day ends up mastering subjects that once seemed impossible. Perfection would have stopped them because it demanded too much at once. Progress carried them because it asked only for consistent effort. The danger of perfection is that it convinces you that nothing you do is enough. You set impossible standards. When you fail to meet them, you feel worthless. That mindset kills dreams before they even start. Progress, on the other hand, teaches you to celebrate small victories. Did you do better today than yesterday? Did you learn something new? Did you take even one step toward your goal? Then you are winning. These little wins build confidence, and confidence makes you unstoppable. The road to greatness is not built in giant leaps. It is built in steady steps of progress. The world doesn't remember people for being perfect. Remembers them for what they contributed, for the progress they made that impacted others. Technology, art, science, business, music, all of it evolved through progress, not perfection. Every invention was built on failed attempts. Every masterpiece was shaped by trial and error. Every movement forward came because someone dared to make progress instead of waiting to be perfect. If you want to master daily excellence, stop demanding perfection from yourself and start demanding progress. Because in the end, progress compounds into mastery, and mastery is what the world calls greatness turned pain into power. Because pain is the most honest teacher you will ever meet, and if you run from it, you stay weak. If you embrace it, you become unstoppable. Everyone goes through pain. No one is spared, whether it's the pain of failure, heartbreak, loss, betrayal, simply the grind of life weighing heavy on your shoulders. Most people try to avoid pain at all costs, numbing themselves with distractions, hiding from challenges, blaming others for what hurts them. But the ones who rise are the ones who take that pain and turn it into fuel. Pain is energy, raw and powerful. Bags in my life. And if you direct it the right way, it becomes the fire that pushes you further than comfort ever could. Every scar tells a story, and every story carries strength if you're willing to see it that way. You can let pain define you as a victim, or you can let it define you as a fighter. The difference is in how you respond. When life knocks you down, you can cry and stay there, or you can wipe the tears. Get up and let the pain remind you why you won't quit. Pain gives you reasons. Pain gives you focus. Pain gives you clarity about what matters most. The hunger to succeed is never as sharp as when you felt the sting of failure, the loneliness of being counted out, the coldness of being ignored. That's why so many powerful people came from struggle, because their pain became the fuel that carved their greatness. Pain also builds resilience. Without it, you stay fragile. easily broken by the first obstacle. But when you've been through storms, when you've tasted the dirt of defeat, when you've cried yourself to sleep and still got up the next morning, you become unshakable. That resilience is priceless because it means no matter what life throws at you, you won't fold. The strongest steel is forged in the hottest fire. And in the same way, your character is forged in the fire of pain. You don't become great in times of ease. You become great when you survive what should have destroyed you and still move forward with power. Turning pain into power also requires perspective. Pain is not just suffering, it's information. It tells you where you are weak, where you need to grow, where you need to change. It reveals your limits and dares you to push past them. That workout burn that feels unbearable is actually your muscles getting stronger. That heartbreak that feels endless is actually teaching you about self-worth. That failure that feels humiliating is actually pointing out the gap in your strategy. Pain isn't your enemy, it's your instructor. When you stop running from it and start listening to it, you realize it's been shaping you all along, but the real magic happens when you take that personal pain and use it not only to build yourself, but also to help others. The person who once felt worthless becomes the leader who inspires others to see their value. The person who once failed becomes the mentor who guides others to success. The person who once suffered in silence becomes the voice that gives hope to those still hurting. That's power, turning your private battles into public victories that light the way for others. Pain can isolate you if you let it, but if you transform it, it connects you deeply with people who need your strength. The truth is, comfort never made anyone extraordinary. Comfort makes you soft, pain makes you sharp. Comfort makes you settle, but pain makes you hungry. Comfort whispers that you're fine where you are, but pain screams that you're meant for more. If you can take the worst moments of your life and decide they won't break you, but instead will build you, you've already stepped into greatness. Because every time you use pain as power, you become stronger, wiser, and harder to stop. Pain will visit everyone, but only a few will transform it, and those few will rise above the rest, carrying a power that comfort could never give them. Energy is everything, because the way you show up determines the way the world responds to you. You can have talent, knowledge, and even opportunity. If your energy is low, if you carry yourself with doubt and weakness, none of it translates into real results. Energy is not just about how loud or fast you move. It's the vibration you carry, the invisible force people feel when you walk into a room, when you speak, when you act. Some people drain the space with negative energy, while others light up the whole place because they bring power, focus, and drive with every step. Excellence demands that you guard your energy like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. The energy you carry will either push you forward or keep you chained to the same spot. When you wake up in the morning, your energy sets the tone for your entire day. If you wake up dragging, complaining, and giving in to laziness, the day mirrors that back to you. But if you wake up with intention, moving with purpose, feeding your body and mind with the right fuel, day bends in your favor. That's why energy is the foundation of performance. Athletes know this. Entrepreneurs know this. Leaders know this. They understand that their energy becomes their brand, their weapon, their identity. People don't just follow words, they follow energy. And if yours is strong, people will naturally be drawn to your vision. If it's weak, even the smartest ideas fall flat. Energy is also contagious. Spend enough time around negative people, and you'll notice how heavy you start to feel. Spend time around disciplined, passionate, high energy people, and you'll feel yourself rising to their level. That's why protecting your circle is crucial. Who you spend time with directly affects your energy, and your energy affects your future. You can't afford to hang around people who drain you, distract you, or constantly pull you down. You need to be around those who spark fire in you, challenge you to keep going, who make you believe more is possible. But even more important, you need to be that source of energy for yourself. Because at the end of the day, no one else is responsible for how you carry yourself. Energy doesn't just come from mindset. It comes from how you treat your body and mind. The food you eat, the sleep you get, the thoughts you allow, the habits you form. These all create the level of energy you operate with. Junk food, negative self-talk, endless scrolling, late nights wasted on nothing. Those rob you of energy and leave you wondering why you feel stuck. On the other hand, discipline in taking care of your health, feeding your mind with empowering thoughts, and building habits that fuel your spirit. All of this creates a powerhouse of energy inside you. And when your energy is high, obstacles shrink, challenges feel lighter, and possibilities feel endless. Energy is also about presence. Too many people are physically in the room, but absent in spirit, going through the motions without passion. That kind of half-hearted presence never creates excellence. To master daily excellence, you have to pour your full energy into whatever you do, whether it's your work, your relationships, or your personal growth. When you give your all, even in the smallest task, you build momentum that carries into bigger victories. Excellence doesn't come from doing things halfway. It comes from giving your full energy, your full focus, your full commitment every single time. The truth is, energy is a choice. You may not control what happens to you, but you control how you show up. You control whether you walk into a challenge with your head down or with fire in your eyes. You control whether you let circumstances drain you or whether you rise above them with strength. Energy is the difference between someone who quits at the first sign of difficulty and someone who pushes through until they win. It's the spark behind discipline, the fuel behind consistency, the drive behind progress, and the force that turns pain into power. Without energy, none of the other qualities matter because they won't last. With energy, even the impossible starts to look possible. So if you want to master the art of daily excellence, start with your energy. Protect it, invest in it, and project it into everything you do. Because at the end of the day, people may forget your words, they may overlook your talent, but they will always remember how your energy made them feel, and that energy will either mark you as someone who fades into the background or someone who commands respect and leaves a lasting legacy. Excellence is a lifestyle, not a moment. Greatness doesn't come from a single achievement or one shining day. It comes from the way you live, breathe, and act consistently when no one is watching. Too many people think excellence is about the big stage, the awards, the applause, the recognition, but the truth is those moments are just the highlights. The real excellence is built in the shadows, in the discipline of daily habits, in the quiet choices you make when nobody will ever know. It's not what you do once in a while that defines you. It's what you do repeatedly until it becomes part of who you are. Excellence is not an act you perform. It's an identity you embody. And once you carry it in your DNA, it shows in everything you touch. When you treat excellence as a moment, you end up chasing highs that fade quickly. You may give your best once and then relax, thinking that one effort is enough to define you. But excellence doesn't care about what you did once. It cares about what you do daily. The fighter who trains only before the match won't last in the ring. The student who studies only before the exam won't retain wisdom. The leader who works hard only when being watched won't inspire respect. Excellence demands consistency, and consistency demands commitment beyond the spotlight. You can fool people with a single act. You can't fool yourself. And the person who builds a lifestyle of excellence doesn't need validation because they know their standard is higher than anyone else's expectation. Excellence as a lifestyle also means holding yourself accountable to a level of integrity that never wavers. It's easy to perform when the crowd is cheering, but what about when no one is around? When cutting corners seems easier, when no one would ever find out? That's where your true standard is revealed. If you choose excellence even then, it's not an act anymore, it's who you are. And the beauty of making excellence your lifestyle is that it starts to flow into every area of your life. The way you speak, the way you treat people, the way you work, the way you handle challenges, all of it reflects that you don't just want to look excellent, you want to live excellent. People often underestimate the compound effect of small, excellent actions done daily. Brushing off small details, ignoring discipline in little things, accepting mediocrity and habits, these slowly erode your character. But when you choose excellence in small things, you create a foundation so strong that it carries into bigger things. Excellence in how you manage your time, how you prepare, how you respond to setbacks, how you show respect to others. All of this builds a life that stands tall even when storms come. That's why the masters of any field are obsessive about their daily routines, their preparation, their attention to detail, because they understand that excellence is not a switch you turn on and off. It's a current that flows through everything. Excellence as a lifestyle also keeps you from stagnation. If you think excellence is just about one goal, once you reach it, you'll slow down and lose your edge. But if you live with excellence in your heart, you keep pushing even after you win. You don't get lazy after the trophy. You don't settle after the applause. You don't stop after the promotion. You keep raising the bar, not because others demand it, but because it's who you are. Excellence becomes your oxygen, and you refuse to breathe mediocrity. That's why the greatest people never stop growing, learning, improving, because their standard isn't set by competition. It's set by their commitment to their own highest potential. The truth is, moments fade, but lifestyle endures. People may forget your one-time success, but they will never forget the person who consistently lived with excellence. That kind of reputation outlasts everything. Excellence as a lifestyle makes you dependable, unshakable, and unforgettable. It means that whether you're in the spotlight or in the shadows, whether you're winning or struggling, whether you're praised or ignored, your standard never drops. And that's why excellence, when it becomes your lifestyle, doesn't just shape your achievements. It shapes your character, your legacy, and the impact you leave on this world. So here's what it all comes down to. Mastering the art of daily excellence is not about chasing some distant dream. It's about what you do right here, right now, every single day. It's the discipline that keeps you moving when you don't feel like it, the consistency that builds momentum, the progress that keeps you growing, the ability to turn pain into power, the energy that fuels your purpose, and the lifestyle that makes excellence your identity instead of just a moment. If you live by these principles, you won't need to chase greatness. Greatness will recognize you because it's written in your habits, your actions, and your spirit. The choice is yours every morning. Will you live average? Or will you rise to excellence? I want you to remember the world doesn't need another person who settles for mediocrity. The world needs the strongest version of you, the disciplined, consistent, powerful, and unstoppable version of you. So step forward with that fire, live your standard, and carry it proudly, because once you live daily excellence, no setback, no enemy, no circumstance can hold you back. Good luck to each and every one of you on this journey. Keep rising, keep pushing, keep mastering the art of daily excellence. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy, and thank you for choosing not just to listen, but to act.